Hello everyone, in today's video we will talk about rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is also known as RA, and it's a type of autoimmune disease. This means that you can't catch it like the common cold. Instead, it's a process that's started by the body itself. It results in inflammation, joint deformities, and pain. Let's start off with some context about RA. It falls into the same autoimmune category as type 1 diabetes, celiac disease, and multiple sclerosis. It affects an estimated 1.3 million people in the United States and up to 23 million people worldwide. There are many risk factors that can contribute to RA. Environmental and lifestyle factors such as exposure to pollution, smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, or obesity may increase the risk of RA. Biological factors such as family predisposition, being a middle to older age, or being biologically female may increase the risk of RA as well. As we've mentioned, RA affects joints in the body. For someone that has RA, there are certain locations that are likely to develop symptoms. This includes the shoulders, elbows, hips, knees, hands, and feet. In order to understand what goes wrong in RA, we first need to understand the parts of a healthy joint. Joints in the body share a common trait. They are all composed of two or more bones that meet and allow the body to move. Here is an image showing the anatomy of a completely healthy joint. Actual joints look more complicated, but we're only going to show the main parts here. As you can see, we have the two bones in beige. There are multiple components surrounding the bone that allow for proper mobility, and also prevent the bones from rubbing together. This starts with the articular cartilage, which is the light blue area directly between each of the bones. It is responsible for providing a smooth surface so the bones can glide over each other. Next is the synovial fluid, which is also known as joint fluid. In this image, the synovial fluid is the dark purple in the middle of the joint. It's a thick liquid that cushions the ends of your bones, reduces friction, and delivers nutrients to the cartilage. The synovial fluid is produced by the synovial membrane, which you can see in the light purple. Lastly are the ligaments in gray. The ligaments hold the two ends of the bones together and stabilize the entire joint structure. This stops the joint from twisting, bending, and tearing in ways that it shouldn't. As we mentioned, this is only a general outline of what a healthy joint looks like. The specific ligaments within the joint will vary, depending on the location of the joint within the body. Now that we know how regular joints work, let's talk about how these joints change during RA. The joint starts off by looking completely healthy, but then progresses into a stage of synovitis. This is where the synovial membrane becomes inflamed. As you can see with the pink arrow, the synovial membrane looks more swollen than normal. This is because the body's immune cells are attacking the membrane, even though the membrane is healthy. As inflammation continues, pannus begins to form. Pannus is when the synovial membrane starts to move towards the center of the joint and cover the articular cartilage. The immune cells present in pannus cause the articular cartilage to degrade. Take a look at the healthy joint with articular cartilage in light blue. During pannus, nearly all of the cartilage has disappeared. At this point, there is very little articular cartilage left. This means that we've entered a severe stage of RA called ankylosis. Ankylosis means fusion of the bones. The first step is when fibrous connective tissue starts to form. This can lead to bones becoming fused together, as you can see on the left. When this happens, the joint is almost completely immobile. We've mentioned that immune cells are causing RA to occur. Let's talk about how that works. The process of RA starts with antibodies that circulate in the blood. Antibodies are small molecules that are supposed to detect what belongs in the body and what does not. There are some types of antibodies, called rheumatoid factors, which think the synovial membrane does not belong in the body. They start by sticking to the synovial membrane. Once attached, the rheumatoid factors trigger white blood cells to attack. Once white blood cells arrive at the joint, they start to do three main things. They attack the synovial membrane, attack the articular cartilage, and cause inflammation. Inflammation is why someone's joints might feel warm or swollen if they have RA. We've just learned that RA has some pretty negative outcomes. In order to avoid this, it's important to diagnose RA in its early stages. Blood tests are often performed to do so. Doctors might be interested in the levels of rheumatoid factors, which are often elevated in someone with RA. They may also look at erythrocyte sedimentation rate. Erythrocytes are red blood cells, and an elevated sedimentation rate might indicate that inflammation is occurring. Imaging tests can also be important. Doctors often look for signs of bone damage or inflammation in the joint areas. Once diagnosed, there are two main types of treatments for RA. The first type is oral medications, which includes non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs and disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drugs. The difference between these two is that NSAIDs treat the painful symptoms of inflammation, while DMARDs block the pathway causing inflammation in the first place. The second type of treatment is corticosteroid injections. These treatments are designed to reduce joint stiffness. Corticosteroid injections are done directly at the joint and are usually given every 3 to 4 months. In summary, RA can affect joints throughout the body. It works by using the body's own cells to cause inflammation and bone damage. And while there's no cure, there are many medical interventions that can make RA manageable for the rest of someone's life.